Jake sat on his bed, staring at his phone. The screen was lit up with messages from friends, but his mind was far away. Just a few months ago, everything felt different. He had shared laughter, late-night talks, and countless adventures with Lyra, the girl next door. But now she was gone, having moved across the country with her family. It felt as if a piece of him had been taken away. He remembered the day she left. The sun was shining, and the air was warm. They had spent the morning hanging out, talking about their dreams and plans for the future. Jake had tried to be brave, but when the moving truck pulled up, his heart sank. He watched as Lyra hugged her parents, her face bright with excitement, but her eyes glistening with unshed tears. She had promised to stay in touch, but as the days turned into weeks, the messages grew less frequent. Jake felt a deep sadness creeping in. He missed her laughter, her quirky sense of humor, and the way she made even the dullest days feel special. He wanted to reach out, to send her a message, but what would he say? "Hey, I miss you," felt so inadequate. He feared that she was moving on, making new friends, and living a life without him. One evening, sitting alone in his room, Jake decided he couldn't let this distance linger any longer. With a deep breath, he picked up his phone and typed, "Hey Lyra, how's it going?" His heart raced as he hit send, feeling both hopeful and anxious. Would she reply? Would she even want to? The next day, Jake checked his phone obsessively. Hours felt like days. Just when he thought about giving up, a notification popped up. It was Lyra. "Hey Jake, I'm doing okay. Miss you." His heart soared. They exchanged messages throughout the day, sharing stories about their new lives. Jake told her about his school, his new hobbies, and the funny things that happened in their hometown. Lyra shared her experiences, her new friends, and how different everything was in her new city. Despite the miles between them, their connection felt alive again. But as they talked, Jake couldn't shake the feeling of longing. He wanted to see Lyra, to feel her presence beside him again. He missed the warmth of her smile and the comfort of her laughter. He remembered the promise they made to each other, that no matter where life took them, they would always find a way back to each other. Weeks passed, and Jake's feelings grew stronger. He decided he needed to do something bold. Inspired by the stories of heroes he loved, he realized that if he wanted to reconnect, he had to take action. He wanted to show Lyra that their bond was worth fighting for. One day, Jake sat down to plan. He would visit her. It took a lot of courage to share his idea with his parents, but they were supportive. They helped him arrange a trip, and soon, he found himself packing his bag, excitement bubbling inside him. He imagined how surprised Lyra would be when he showed up at her door. The journey felt long, but each passing mile filled him with determination. He thought about all the moments they had shared and how much he wanted to create new memories together. He envisioned their reunion, the joy on her face, and the laughter they would share. Finally, after hours of travel, Jake arrived at Lyra's new neighborhood. It felt strange and unfamiliar, but he was ready. He walked up to her house, his heart pounding in his chest. He took a moment to gather his thoughts and knocked on the door. When Lyra opened it, her eyes went wide with shock. "Jake," she exclaimed, her voice filled with disbelief. She stepped forward, and they embraced tightly. The warmth of her presence washed over him, and he felt a wave of relief and happiness. "I can't believe you're here," she said, pulling back to look at him. "What a surprise." "I missed you too much," Jake admitted, feeling a bit shy. "I wanted to see you." They spent the day exploring her new city, laughing and reminiscing about the good times they had shared. It felt like no time had passed at all. They visited parks, tried new foods, and even took silly selfies. Each moment was a reminder of their special bond, stronger than the distance that had separated them. As the sun began to set, They found themselves sitting on a bench at a local park, the sky painted in shades of orange and pink. Jake took a deep breath, feeling the weight of his feelings. "Lyra, I know we've been apart, but I want you to know that you mean a lot to me. I want to stay connected, no matter where we are." Lyra smiled, her eyes sparkling. "I feel the same way, Jake. I was worried we would drift apart, but this means so much to me." In that moment, Jake felt a surge of hope. Their friendship was resilient, and he realized that distance couldn't diminish the bond they shared. They promised to keep in touch, to make time for each other, and to never let distance come between them again. As Jake headed home later that evening, his heart felt light. He knew they would face challenges, but he was ready to fight for their friendship. He was determined to prove that love, no matter how distant, could endure. And as he looked up at the stars shining brightly above, he whispered to himself, "Please marry me. I'm pregnant with your baby," knowing that their connection could lead to a beautiful future filled with hope. After their joyful reunion, Jake returned home feeling lighter than he had in months. The memories of his day with Lyra filled his mind, and he couldn't help but smile. Yet, as the days passed, he realized that the distance between them was still there, even if their hearts felt closer. They promised to stay in touch, but life often got in the way. Jake tried to keep the momentum going. They texted regularly, sharing funny memes and little updates about their lives. But he felt a growing sadness in the back of his mind. He missed the spontaneous adventures they used to have. He missed being able to just hang out without the barrier of a phone screen or a long-distance call. One evening, while scrolling through their messages, Jake noticed a photo Lyra had sent of her new favorite park. It looked beautiful, with tall trees and colorful flowers. He remembered how they used to explore parks together, laughing and talking for hours. An idea sparked in his mind. What if he could bridge the gap between them in a new way? The following day, Jake began planning a surprise for Lyra. He knew she loved art and had mentioned wanting to learn how to paint. He decided to send her a painting kit, along with a heartfelt letter. He wanted her to know that even though they were far apart, he was always thinking of her and supporting her dreams. He spent hours picking out the perfect paints, brushes, and a sketchbook. As he carefully wrapped everything, he felt a sense of purpose. This was his way of showing her that he cared, that he was still there for her, even if they were separated by miles. He included a note that read, "Dear Lyra, I hope this painting kit inspires you to create beautiful things. I miss our adventures together. Let's plan a virtual paint night soon. Remember, no matter how far apart we are, you're always in. My heart. Love, Jake." After sending the package, Jake felt a flutter of excitement. He could already imagine Lyra's smile when she received it. He hoped this would spark a new way for them to connect, something beyond just texting or calling. Days turned into a week, and Jake eagerly awaited Lyra's response. He checked his phone constantly, hoping for a message. Finally, one evening, his phone buzzed with a notification. It was from Lyra. "Jake, I got your package. Thank you so much. The painting kit is amazing. I can't wait to use it." Jake's heart soared. They began chatting about the paints and colors, and Lyra shared her ideas for what she wanted to create. They decided to set a date for their virtual paint night. It felt like old times, filled with laughter and excitement. On the night of their virtual paint session, Jake set up his camera, eager to see her face. As the video call connected, Lyra popped up on the screen, her face beaming with joy. "Hey, Jake, I'm so ready for this." They both had their canvases ready, and as they painted, they talked about everything. They shared stories, laughed at each other's silly mistakes, and even had friendly competitions about who could paint the best sunset. It felt like a bridge was forming between their two worlds. As the evening went on, Jake felt a warmth inside him, They were creating something beautiful together, just like before. Somewhere between the strokes of paint and shared laughter, he realized that even though they were physically apart, they were still connected in spirit. After they finished their paintings, they held them up to the camera, showing off their creations. "Look at mine. It's a masterpiece," Jake joked, and they both burst into laughter. "I love it, but I think mine is better," Lyra teased back. They spent the rest of the night talking about their dreams, hopes, and fears. Jake noticed how easy it was to talk to her, as if no time had passed since their last adventure together. As the call came to an end, Jake felt a strong sense of hope. "Let's do this again soon, okay?" he said. Lyra nodded, her expression serious but warm. "Absolutely. I want to keep this going, Jake. You mean so much to me." In the following weeks, they continued their virtual paint nights and even started a book club, picking a new book to read and discuss each month. Through stories and art, they rebuilt their connection, layer by layer, like the coats of paint on their canvases. Despite the distance, Jake felt a shift in their relationship. He realized that love could thrive even when separated by miles. Their shared interests and dreams became the foundation for a new kind of bond, one that was strong and resilient. However, Jake still felt a longing to see Lyra in person again. He started saving money for another trip, dreaming of the day they could. Jake was buzzing with excitement as the days passed. He had planned his second trip to see Lyra, and this time, he wanted it to be special. He had saved enough money from his part-time job, and after several weeks of anticipation, the day had finally arrived. He could hardly contain his happiness as he packed his bag, making sure to include a few surprises for Lyra. On the morning of his departure, Jake woke up early. The sun peeked through his curtains, and he felt a thrill of hope. He had imagined this moment countless times, and now it was finally happening. He reviewed his checklist: clothes, snacks, and the little gifts he had picked for Lyra. He wanted to make this trip memorable. After a quick breakfast, Jake hugged his parents goodbye. "I'll be back in a few days," he said, his voice filled with excitement. They smiled, happy to see him so enthusiastic about his friend. The journey to Lyra's new city felt long, but Jake used the time to think about all the fun things they would do together. He wanted to explore her favorite park, visit local shops, and maybe even find a cozy cafe where they could talk for hours. He was determined to make the most of every moment. When he finally arrived, Jake felt his heart race. He took a cab to Lyra's neighborhood, reliving the memories of their last visit. As he got closer, he could hardly sit still. He was nervous but excited, eager to see her again. Jake stood in front of her house, taking a deep breath to calm his racing heart. He knocked on the door, and within moments, Lyra opened it. Her eyes widened with surprise, and a huge smile spread across her face. "Jake, you're here." They embraced tightly, and for a moment, everything felt right in the world. As she pulled back, her eyes sparkled with joy. "I can't believe you made it. Let's go have some fun." Lyra took Jake by the hand, leading him into her home. They spent a few moments catching up, sharing stories about their lives since they last met. Jake noticed how much he had missed her energy and laughter. It felt like they were picking up right where they left off. After a quick snack, they decided to head out. Lyra took him to the park she adored, the one she had shown him in pictures. The trees were tall and lush, and flowers bloomed in vibrant colors. The air was filled with the sweet scent of nature, and Jake felt a wave of happiness wash over him. As they walked along the winding paths, they talked about everything: school, friends, and their dreams for the future. Lyra shared her excitement about an art show she wanted to enter, and Jake encouraged her, reminding her of how talented she was. He could see the spark in her eyes as she spoke about her passion for painting. "Jake, I've been working on some new pieces. I want to show you," she said, her face lighting up. Jake was thrilled to see her so excited. Later, they found a cozy spot on a grassy hill and sat down, enjoying the view. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over everything. Jake felt the moment was perfect. He turned to Lyra, his heart full of hope. "I'm really glad I came back. I missed you so much." Lyra smiled, her expression serious but warm. "I missed you too. It's hard being apart, but I'm grateful for our friendship. You make everything better." As the sun dipped below the horizon, Jake's mind raced with thoughts. He wanted to tell Lyra how much she meant to him, but he didn't know how. Instead, he decided to focus on the moment and enjoy their time together. The next day, Jake had a surprise planned. He had heard about a local art festival happening in the city, and he wanted to take Lyra. He thought it would be a great way to support her passion and have fun together. When he revealed the plan, Lyra's eyes sparkled with excitement. "That sounds amazing. I've always wanted to go to an art festival." They arrived at the festival, and the atmosphere was filled with creativity. Artists displayed their work, and there were live music performances that made the air come alive. Jake and Lyra walked through the booths, admiring the paintings, sculptures, and handmade crafts. "Look at that one," Lyra exclaimed, pointing to a vibrant painting of a sunset. "It reminds me of the one we painted together." Jake smiled, remembering their virtual paint nights. "Let's get some inspiration for our next one." They spent hours exploring the festival, laughing, and sharing their opinions on different pieces of art. As they wandered, they stumbled upon a booth where a local artist was offering painting classes. Jake looked at Lyra, his heart racing with an idea. "What if we take a class together? It could be fun." Lyra's face lit up. "Yes, that would be amazing." They signed up for the class and soon found themselves in front of canvases with paintbrushes in hand. The instructor guided them through the process, encouraging them to express themselves freely. Jake felt the joy of creating art with Lyra again, and it brought back memories of their late-night painting sessions. As they painted, Jake glanced at Lyra. She was focused, her brow furrowed in concentration, but every now and then she would look over and smile at him. It filled him with warmth, reminding him how much he cherished their time together. After the class, they stepped back to admire their work. "Look at this. We did it," Lyra exclaimed, her eyes shining with pride. "I think we make a great team," Jake replied, feeling a sense of accomplishment. They laughed and took pictures of their creations, storing the memories in their hearts. That evening, as they sat on a bench watching the stars come out, Jake felt a surge of hope. He wanted to tell Lyra how he felt, but he hesitated. He knew he needed to be brave. He took a deep breath and turned to her. "Lyra, I want you to know that being here with you has been incredible. I really care about you, and I want to keep building our friendship, no matter the distance." Lyra smiled softly, her eyes reflecting the stars. "I feel the same way, Jake. I want us to stay connected. You mean so much to me." Jake's heart soared at her words. He realized that no matter where life took them, their bond was strong enough to withstand any distance. They made a promise to always support each other and to keep their friendship alive, no matter the challenges ahead. As Jake looked up at the night sky, he whispered again, "Please marry me. I'm pregnant with your baby," knowing that their connection was just beginning, filled with hope and endless possibilities. Together, they could face anything the future held. Jake woke up the next morning with a smile on his face. The memories of the previous day filled him with joy. He and Lyra had spent an incredible time together at the art festival, and their new paintings were still fresh in his mind. But as he lay in bed, the thought of returning home began to weigh on him. He didn't want their time together to end. After breakfast, Jake and Lyra decided to explore more of the city. They visited local shops, tried new foods, and laughed at silly souvenirs. Each moment felt precious, and Jake was determined to make the most of it. He wanted to create memories that would last until their next reunion. As they walked through a bustling market, Jake felt a twinge of sadness. He remembered how easy it used to be to hang out with Lyra. Now, every moment felt like a gift, but it also reminded him of the distance that would soon separate them again. He glanced at Lyra, who was excitedly examining a handmade bracelet. The sight of her happiness lifted his spirits, but he still felt the weight of their situation. "Hey, Lyra," he said, trying to shake off his worries. "What do you think about starting a project together? Something we can work on even when we're apart?" Lyra looked intrigued. "What do you have in mind?" Jake thought for a moment. "How about a shared art journal? We can each add to it and send it back and forth. That way, we can still create together, even if we're miles apart." Lyra's eyes lit up. "That's a great idea. We can each take turns adding our own pieces and thoughts. It'll be like a little piece of us traveling to each other." They spent the rest of the day gathering supplies for their project sketchbooks, colored pencils, and paints. Jake felt a surge of excitement as they planned how they would decorate the journal. It was a way to keep their bond alive, and he felt hopeful about their future. Later that evening, they returned to Lyra's house, tired but happy. They spread out their supplies on the living room floor and began brainstorming ideas for their first entries. Jake suggested they each create a page that represented their favorite memories together, and Lyra agreed. As they worked side by side, Jake felt a warmth in his heart. He loved how easily they connected, even while doing something as simple as drawing. Lyra's laughter filled the room as they shared stories and jokes, and for a moment he forgot about the distance that lay ahead. But as the night wore on, reality began to creep in again. Jake knew he would have to leave soon. He couldn't shake the feeling of sadness that came with the thought of saying goodbye. He wanted to tell Lyra how much she meant to him, but he struggled to find the right words. Finally, as they finished their first pages in the journal, Jake took a deep breath. "Lyra, I've been thinking a lot about us. I know we're far apart, but I really want to keep this connection strong. You're important to me." Lyra looked at him, her expression serious yet warm. "You're important to me too, Jake. I don't want to lose what we have." Jake felt a surge of hope. "Maybe we can set a schedule for our journal. We can send it back and forth every month, and we can also have video calls to catch up. It'll be like we're still together, no matter the distance." "That sounds perfect," Lyra said, her eyes sparkling. "I love that idea. We can share our art and our lives, and it'll feel like we're not so far apart." Jake woke up one bright Saturday morning, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. It had been a few weeks since he and Lyra started their art journal project, and today was the day they would finally have their first video call since he returned home. He had been counting down the days, eager to see her face and hear her voice again. As he sat at his desk, Jake double-checked his notes and the artwork he had prepared to share. He wanted to impress Lyra with his creativity and show her how much her friendship meant to him. He glanced at the clock, noting that it was almost time for their call. He took a deep breath to calm his racing heart. When the video call connected, Jake's heart fluttered with joy at the sight of Lyra. She looked beautiful, her hair cascading over her shoulders, and her smile bright enough to light up the screen. "Jake, it's so good to see you," she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Hi, Lyra. I've missed you so much," Jake replied, feeling warmth spread through him. They chatted for a few moments, catching up on their lives and sharing funny stories about their weeks. It felt like they were sitting in the same room, even though they were miles apart. After a bit of small talk, Jake said, "I can't wait to show you what I added to our journal." He reached for the art journal and held it up proudly. "I worked really hard on it, Lyra's face lit up with curiosity. Let's see it. She leaned closer to the camera, her eyes wide with anticipation. Jake opened the journal to the pages he had filled. He had created a colorful collage of their memories, together pictures of the park, their time at the art festival, and even a drawing of the cafe where they had shared laughs over hot chocolate. Each piece of art was accompanied by notes about their adventures and dreams for the future. Lyra gasped in delight. Jake, this is amazing. I love how you captured all our moments together. Thanks. I wanted you to feel like we were together, he said, smiling. Your pages inspired me so much. I tried to reflect all the fun we had. As they flipped through the journal, sharing their thoughts and feelings about each piece, Jake felt a sense of hope wash over him. Their connection was strong, and he could see that they were both committed to nurturing their friendship. Jake, I've been thinking, Lyra said, her tone turning serious. I know we're far apart, but I really want to make this work. I don't want to lose you. Jake's heart raced at her words. I feel the same way, Lyra. You're so important to me. I want to do whatever it takes to keep our friendship alive. Lyra smiled softly. What if we set up regular video calls? We could plan art nights, book discussions, and even virtual hangouts. That way, it'll feel like we're still part of each other's lives. That sounds perfect. Jake agreed, enthusiastically. We can even set goals for our art. Maybe we can each create something special every month and share it. Lyra's eyes sparkled with excitement. Yes, I'd love that. It'll keep us motivated and connected. As they continued to talk about their plans, Jake felt a newfound sense of determination. He realized that distance didn't have to mean separation. With a little effort, they could create a bridge that would keep their friendship strong. After their call, Jake felt energized. He spent the next few days working on new art pieces and preparing for their upcoming video calls. He wanted to show Lyra how much he valued their connection, and he was excited about all the possibilities ahead. A week later, they had another video call, and Jake was eager to share his latest creations. He had painted a piece inspired by their favorite park, capturing the beauty of the flowers and the warmth of the sun. I want to show you this, he said, holding up the painting. Lyra's eyes widened in awe. Wow, Jake, this is beautiful. You've really captured the essence of that place. Thanks. It reminds me of the fun we had there, Jake replied, feeling proud. I wanted to bring a piece of it to life. They spent hours discussing their art, sharing ideas, and encouraging each other. Jake felt a sense of joy he hadn't experienced in a long time. Their friendship was flourishing, and he knew they were building something special together. As the weeks passed, Jake and Lyra continued their routine of video calls and art projects. They shared their dreams, fears, and hopes for the future. Each conversation deepened their bond, and Jake realized that he was falling for Lyra in a way he hadn't expected. One evening, as they finished their call, Jake felt a surge of courage. Lyra, can I tell you something? He asked, his heart pounding. Of course. What is it? She replied, her expression curious. I've really enjoyed our time together, and I care about you more than I can say. I think I'm starting to have feelings for you, Jake admitted, his voice steady but filled with emotion. Lyra's eyes widened in surprise, but then a smile spread across her face. Jake, I've been feeling the same way. I didn't know how to say it. Relief washed over Jake, and he felt a rush of happiness. Really? That's amazing. Yes. I've loved getting to know you even more, and I've realized how special you are to me, Lyra said, her voice warm and sincere. In that moment, they both understood that their bond had grown into something deeper. They had weathered the challenges of distance and emerged stronger, more connected than ever. As they continued to talk about their feelings, Jake felt a sense of hope for the future. They were ready to take their friendship to the next level. And he believed that they could navigate whatever challenges lay ahead. As their conversation came to a close, Jake felt a sense of peace. No matter what happens, I want you to know that I'm here for you, Lyra. We can face anything together. I feel the same way, Jake. I'm so grateful for you, she replied, her eyes shining with sincerity. As they said their goodbyes, Jake whispered into the night, "Please marry me. I'm pregnant with your baby," knowing that their connection had blossomed into a beautiful friendship filled with hope and love. Together, they were ready to face whatever the future held, hand in hand. Jake woke up with a smile on his face, feeling a new sense of hope. Since he and Lyra had shared their feelings for each other, everything felt different. Their conversations were now filled with warmth and excitement, and he couldn't wait to see what the future held for them. As he got ready for the day, Jake thought about how much their friendship had grown. They had gone from being childhood friends to something deeper, and he felt grateful for every moment they shared. He wanted to make the most of this new chapter, so he decided to surprise Lyra with something special. After breakfast, Jake sat down at his desk and began sketching. He envisioned a piece of art that represented their journey together, a blend of their memories, dreams, and hopes for the future. He worked diligently, pouring his heart into the piece. With each stroke of the pencil, he felt more connected to Lyra, imagining how she would react when she saw it. Later that day, he finished the artwork. It was a beautiful landscape that included elements from their favorite park, the cafe they loved, and even a few whimsical touches that represented their dreams. Jake felt proud of what he had created and knew it would mean a lot to Lyra. When it was time for their video call, Jake could hardly contain his excitement. As soon as Lyra's face appeared on the screen, he grinned. "Hey, Lyra. I have something special to show you." "Hi, Jake. What is it?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. He held up the artwork, revealing the colorful scene he had created. "This is for you. It's a piece that represents us and everything we've shared." Lyra gasped, her hand covering her mouth. "Jake, this is incredible. You captured everything so perfectly. I love it." Jake felt a rush of happiness as he watched her reaction. "I wanted you to know how much you mean to me. Our friendship is so important, and I hope we can keep building it." "I feel the same way," Lyra said, her voice filled with warmth. "This means so much to me. I can't wait to hang it up in my room." They spent the rest of the call discussing the artwork, sharing ideas for future projects, and talking about their dreams. Jake felt a sense of clarity as they talked, realizing that they were both committed to making their connection stronger. Despite the distance. As the days turned into weeks, Jake and Lyra continued to explore their feelings for each other. They set up regular video calls and kept sending their art journal back and forth. Each new entry was filled with creativity, laughter, and heartfelt notes that deepened their bond. One evening, as they were talking, Jake noticed something on Lyra's face. "You seem a bit quiet tonight. Is everything okay?" he asked, concern filling his voice. Lyra took a deep breath. "I've been thinking a lot about our future. I love what we have, but I also worry about the distance. It's hard sometimes, and I want to make sure we can keep this going." Jake nodded, understanding her concerns. "I worry about that too, but I believe we can make it work. We just have to keep communicating and supporting each other." "I know. I just want to be sure we're both on the same page," she replied. Her voice soft. Jake thought for a moment before speaking. "What if we made some plans? We could set goals for our future together. Maybe we could talk about visiting each other more often, or even finding ways to work on projects together." Lyra's eyes lit up at the idea. "I love that. It would be great to have something to look forward to. Maybe we could plan a visit for the summer?" "That sounds perfect," Jake said, feeling a surge of excitement. We can explore new places together and create more art. It'll be an adventure. As they continued,